Hi guys, in today's video I will be going over how to up-pot tomatoes to bigger pots and how to harden them off so they can transition safely from going inside under grow lights to being outside. So let's get started. So these are my tomato seedlings, not everything in the cell, just this section right here. And I grow 22 tomato varieties, and some varieties, for some varieties, more than one plant. So I'm growing a lot of plants. And the reason why I'm starting them in cells like these is because I don't have a lot of room under grow lights. So if I wanted to put every seedling in a pot like this, I would just not have enough room under the grow lights. I started them May 1st, and right now they're getting pretty big, so it is perfect time to up-pot them. But also the time is great. It's because in my climate, in my zone, day temperatures are 60 degrees on average, so they can easily be outside and I don't have to keep them under grow lights anymore. And when temperatures drop unexpectedly, I can still bring them inside. Yes, it is kind of a lot of work to always check the temperatures and bringing them inside if the temperatures drop. But I don't have a greenhouse, so the alternative for me is just not growing that many plants. And I want to grow that many plants, so I have to put in the work. So how do we up-pot tomatoes? It's actually very easy. Tomatoes are not really sensitive to disturbing roots. So for example, this guy right here is called Earliana. I was growing actually 2 plants in one cell, and what I need to do is first separate them. Very gently, but you don't have to be too gentle because they are really tough. There you go, we have 2 plants. And next, I have to grab a bigger pot. So I just use recycled pots from nursery plants that I bought at some point. Also, I use those blue plastic cups, and they last for years. But yeah, in this case, I'm using this little guy. So what I need to do is put a little soil on the bottom. And I also make my soil. It is 1/3 coconut coir, 1/3 perlite, and 1/3 worm castings. Worm casting give nutrients. Perlite drainage. It's for drainage, and coconut coir is just a nice growing medium. And this is a crucial step. And it might feel kind of off a little bit, but you actually need to bury a stem as much as possible, and as much by possible I mean all the way to first leaves. And what this will guarantee is the plant will be more sturdy, and also the plant will have healthier roots, because all this little hair, I know you guys can see it on the camera, but all these little hair will on tomato stem will potentially form roots. So we really want the plant to develop good root system. So yeah, let me fill it in. Fill it in with soil. And then, of course, give it a little bit of water. And all of a sudden, the plant became much smaller comparing to its sister when it was growing like this. But it's good for the plant. That's the best method to ensure that seedling is healthy. And let's not forget about the label. Always label your plants. And that's it. We're gonna do the same thing to this guy and the rest of the seedlings, and then we'll go over hardening them off. Potting. So I finished up potting 56 seedlings planted in pots of this size take a lot of room. So I just simply did not have that much room under the grow light to designate to tomatoes only. To compare, all these tomatoes took this much room. So if you don't have a lot of room under growing lights and want to grow a lot of plants, this method really works, as long as you time it correctly. So let's go into hardening off. So these guys were never outside. They spent their whole lives inside under growing lights when they were protected from all the elements. So hardening off is the process where we get plants used to outside elements, including wind and sun, and also different temperatures. The reason why they're in the shade. For the first couple of days, I put them in the shade, in a deep shade, kind of like under this tree, so they get used to outside elements first. After a couple of days, if I don't see any sign of stress, meaning wilting or sunburn, I transfer them to kind of dappled shade area, kind of like behind me. Over there, the tree still provides some shade, but it's not that deep shade like over here. After a couple of days, if I don't see any sign of stress, then I give them more sun. And by giving more sun, I put them in a full sun location, but only after 4 p.m. After 4 p.m., the sun is not as intense. And if I don't see any sign of wilting, then at that point, I try to introduce them to full sun. And tomatoes really need full sun to thrive. So this takes a while, but it's extremely important. You put so much work into growing them from seeds, transplanting, and you just don't want them to die because they got stressed. So they just need time to adjust to the outside growing conditions. So here they are. If you want to find out what tomato varieties I'm growing, I will link another video that I went over all the tomato varieties that I'm growing this year in the description in case you missed that. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.